Good evening, everyone, and welcome to regular City Council meeting of Tuesday, August 6, 2019. If you'll please rise, Councilman Stewart will be leading us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
You bow your heads, please. Lord, we appreciate your many blessings, and we're asking to give us the wisdom to make the right decisions in this meeting this evening. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Stewart. You're welcome. We'll have the city clerk call the roll, please.
Mayor Shoup. Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Here.
Lawrence.
Yes, here.
Stewart.
Here.
Detman.
Here. Okay, we're all on a yes roll so far. I'd like to announce business from the audience. If you have anything that is not on tonight's agenda and you would like us to come up and talk to us about it, please come up and see Clerk Haley, and she'll get you on the agenda a little bit later on. Thank you. Since the mayor is not here, we will not have a mayor's report. Council members' concerns, comments, and liaison reports.
Yep.
Councilman Lawrence?
Yes, I just want to say that I went out to the Max Long Recreational Complex this past week. They completed the playground out there, and Mr. Ivy was also there along with the mayor and city officials, and they did an excellent job on it out there. They did get it done before the end of summer, which is really cool. And when we were out there, there had to be about 15 or 20 kids out there playing on it. So that's really a great thing to have them out there in the park playing instead of out on the street somewhere. And so I think it's a great thing. I just want to say thanks for everybody and their efforts to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
No, sir. Nothing.
Nothing else? Okay, we'll move into the consent agenda, but before we accept a motion on that, I'd like to pull item 8E, which is the demolition of structure at 1807 Steiner Avenue.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
You got to pull 8E.
Pulling 8E.
Okay, second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Kathy, call the roll, please.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Detman.
Yes. On item 8E, the demolition of the structure at 1807 Steiner Avenue, there is an attached, the very next page, a budget amendment that is not mentioned in the requested motion. So if someone would like to make that motion, then add and approve budget amendment 94 as attached, I think that would work.
I make a motion that we add the amendment 94 on the budget request.
Second it.
We have a motion with the added amendment to the budget, and we have a second. Kathy, call the roll.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Detman.
Yes. I see we have no old business. Under new business, item 10A is a public hearing, reimposition and collection of fire protection special assessment. So I'll open this as a public hearing. Let me read the background and the purpose of the public hearing. The City Council is considering a resolution that, if passed, will reimpose a special assessment for the provision of fire protection service within the municipal boundaries of the city. The assessment is currently levied at 17.4% of the maximum allowed. For fiscal year 2019-20, the City Council is proposing an increase to the level of 19.70% of the maximum allowed. Rates are shown in Exhibit A. The fire assessment is expected to generate $587,249 in revenue and is used to offset property taxes. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments on the proposed assessment. Following the public hearing, council will consider the final rate resolution that will reimposed the fire assessment. Mr. Natelick, I think you're up.
Council, I'll draw your attention to Exhibit A. If you'll take a look at the proposed rate at 19.7%. The residential rate would now be $80. It was $70 last year. The commercial rate would be 3 cents per square foot. It was 3 cents last year. The same for industrial and warehouse. It was a penny last year. It will be a penny again this year. And under institutional, we have 4 cents. It's going to go up by a penny. It was 3 cents last year. And the nursing home rate would go from 23 cents a square foot to 27 cents a square foot. And vacant land would be $6. It was $6 last year. It would raise to $7 this year per parcel if council approves.
Thank you, Mr. Natelick. Does anyone in the audience like to address this issue? Council's questions or concerns regarding the fire assessment? Okay, hearing none, I'll adjourn the public hearing. I will allow Mr. Swain under item 10B to read the resolution 2019-18, which is the final fire assessment resolution.
The title of the resolution is a resolution of the City of Sebring, Florida relating to the provision of fire protection services, facilities, and programs in the City of Sebring, Florida, establishing the rate of assessment, confirming the preliminary rate resolution, reimposing fire protection assessments against assessed property located within the City of Sebring for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2019, approving the assessment roll, and providing an effective date.
Any comments or questions? Comments or questions from the audience? We'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve final assessment resolution 2019-18 as presented.
I'll second it.
Kathy, we have a motion and we have a second. Would you please call the roll?
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Detman.
Yes. Item 10C is a proposed update to the MS4 stormwater ordinance. Mr. Fields, please.
Good evening, council. So we're asking that you allow us to update the stormwater ordinance that we passed in December, and I'll give you the reason for that is we put ours in before the county. We're supposed to follow the county's lead. The county was a little behind, so we wanted to get something out there and something, to be quite honest, we wanted to try and put as little enforcement as we could in this because we wanted to see what the county was going to come up with and what DEP was actually going to force us to do. After our audit, they seem to be good with what we have here, what we've updated. We added quite a bit because we left out quite a bit. We now have a means to enforce and hold folks accountable for not following the ordinance as it is under the MS4 permit. Any questions?
Any questions from the audience? We'll entertain a motion.
You need Mr. Swain to read the.
I'm sorry, yes, Mr. Swain, please.
The ordinance is entitled an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sebring, Florida, amending section 23-226 Stormwater Management of Article 4 NPDES Stormwater Illicit Discharge Regulations of Chapter 23 Utilities of the City of Sebring Code, amending purpose and intent, amending exemption, providing for definitions, providing for prohibitions, providing for discharges due to industrial activity or construction activity, providing for requirement to prevent, control, or reduce non-stormwater discharges and adhere to state water quality standards, providing for notification of discharge, providing for enforcement of illicit discharges, amending section 2-418 scope of authority of Division 2 Code Enforcement of Article 6 Boards and Commissions of Chapter 2 Administration providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
I make a motion we approve the ordinance on first reading and schedule second and final reading on August the 20th, 2019.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Kathy, call the roll.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Bettman.
Yes. City attorney's business, I'm sorry, business from the audience. Do we have any, Kathy?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. City attorney's business, ordinance 1443, sir.
Agenda item 12A is that ordinance, and it's entitled an ordinance amending section 18-74 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebring by extending the time for adoption and the collection of non-ad valorem assessment, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date. The changes here align the ordinance with the current statute on non-ad valorem assessments.
I make a motion we approve ordinance 1443 on second final reading as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and we have a second. Any comments from the audience? Kathy, call the roll.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Bettman.
Yes. Item 12B is the amendment to development agreement for Lake Regency Woods. Mr. Swain.
Yes, sir, you all are familiar with the current request, but let me give you a little bit of the historical, quick overview of the history of the Lake Regency Woods subdivision. That was actually platted in 2004 in Highlands County with an annexation agreement and development agreement. The Phase 1 lots were brought in, and part of the development agreement, and this is in 2005, had a requirement of that all houses be built at 2,800 square feet under air with a 500 square foot garage. In April of the next year, the developer at the time wanted to move forward with phases 2 and 3, so we signed a supplemental or an amendment to the development agreement, also tying those lots to 2,800 square feet under air, 500 square feet for the garage. That was then platted. The homeowners association is the successor to the developer, and the homeowners association in 2013 amended their declaration and covenants of covenants and restrictions to reduce the sizes. They reduced the lake lots, or the lots kind of around the lake on the west, north, and east side of the lake, to 2,500 square feet under air, 400 square foot garage, and 100 square foot of porch space. And then the non-lake lots that are kind of on the back side of those lake lots, reduced those down to 1,800 square feet per under air, 400 square feet for garage, and 100 square feet for porch. That was in 2013. And then, so it stepped down further in March of 2015, where the lake lot size dropped from 2,500 to 2,350, and the rest remained the same for garage size, porch size, and the lots that are not on the lake. The request that you have today is to step it down one further for the lakefront lots to have a minimum square footage of 2,000 square feet under air, 400 square feet of garage space, and 100 square feet of porch space, and remain at 1,800 for the non-lakefront lots. So from the development agreement in 2005 and 6, this seems like a big drop. According to the rules that their association has passed, or the restrictions that they have passed over time, it's not that big of a drop, but because there is a development agreement on the property, the request is made of council to amend the development agreement to be the same as what the homeowners association has asked for the lot sizes to be, and that again, 2,000 on the lake, 1,800 off the lake, which is more than what the city's ordinance would require of similarly zoned property in the city.
And there is no change to the square footage of the garage space or the space of the porches.
There is-
So it's just the-
Dropped it 100.
It was 100, wasn't it?
500 went to
So it's a little bit less than the development agreement.
Originally, yeah.
It's the same as the 2013 and 15 changes. They
Right.
have made no further change to it, but it is a
Yeah.
change from the
That's-
development
Right,
agreement.
that's what I was referring to. Okay. Looks like Mr. Handley would like to speak to us
No,
tonight.
I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay.
I'm not the developer, but I'm the president of the homeowner association, so I can.
I was just gonna
What
ask
was I
you.
doing here?
Yeah, what are you doing
I
here?
didn't have enough meetings today, so I thought
Well, I thought maybe we could do a little switching around, like you took about 5 minutes to do on the 10A and the 10C and B, and, oh my
Don't
goodness.
make fun of the way we run our meetings.
Well, I took a snooze in between, I just want you to know that.
That was a long one today.
I had nothing else to do. Okay. Do y'all have any questions for Mr. Hanley? He's the president of the association.
Well, I guess I have one in regards to a letter that Mr. Natlik received, and that is that they have a question, someone has a question as to the vote that was taken by the homeowner association. So could you address that for us, please?
Well, yes, we got a copy of that letter as well, and the folks that wrote that letter to us, they miscalculated the lot numbers, so the percentages were off from what their number was. They come up with a count of 46.
Four.
46.
Okay.
And actually there's 70 voters.
Mhm.
And when we did, what was required to meet the 75% pass was 53 votes, and we got to that point, and so we got to the, we still haven't heard back from 4 of the property owners. Out of 30 property owners, we had 4 voted no, 4 that didn't respond, and everybody else voted in favor.
So if you, do you throw out the 4 that didn't respond?
Technically, if they don't respond, we had to count them as no's.
Okay.
But whether or not they've been no's, but even with doing the math that way, which is how we did it, we
Right.
still passed
Yeah.
75%.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Is that gentleman in the audience this evening?
No.
Okay. And
Someone else.
But there,
Yes.
someone here.
Whatever you like.
Would you like to come up and address the board?
Yes.
Come on up. Tell us who you are, and we'll move along from there.
This is Brent Dean. He's a property owner out at Lake Regency. He has a house out there.
All righty. So we do have two,
I'll get that.
we have 2 emails that with no objection, and we have the one letter that was an objection, but I guess that was just explained by Mr. Hanley.
How much did you do?
Probably none of it.
You need to enter each one of these pieces into the record.
I'm Frank Bean. I own 4 lots, number 17, 18, 20, and 21. I have a home on 21. And I became acquainted with Lake Regency about the time Rod did, maybe even a little before. I have a question before I get started. This is in regards to phase 2. Is phase 2 just the west side of the lake?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Betty?
I believe phase 2 is the cul-de-sac, the wooded lots. Phase 3 was what Mr. LeBay.
Right. It's the west side of that road. Phase 3 is the furthest west of the lots. Phase 2 is the west side of the lake.
Here's a plot plan, it's an old one,
That's phase 1. That's the first one.
that's phase 1. Is this phase 2?
Let me show you something that may make it a little easier.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So
And
you,
then phase 3 is the stuff on the other side of the road.
same thing I
Well, I've got the more portable version.
got. Anyhow,
If you like, this is, make a little more sense to stand it this way.
okay, this is what you're asking for, that's phase 2.
It would apply throughout.
Throughout the whole subdivision.
Phase 3 is over here, on the west side of that, of the road. But it would apply throughout the subdivision.
As Mr. Lawrence was talking about the square footage and how it has regressed from 2,800 square feet, which was in 2006 and 7 when that was blowing and going to now 2,000 square feet. There's been 5 homes built by people with the understanding of what the square footage was of the higher one. Those homes range from 500,000 to million and a half. To take and mingle in 2,000 square foot homes with this quality of home is not right. It's just not right. That's why I was asking if this phase 2 was the west side of the lots on the lake, which would not help a lot, but it would be a lot better than making the phase 1 2,000 square feet, which I am totally opposed to. That is like shooting a guy in the back, you know, after he's down. We have those lots sold in 06 and 07 for between $100,000 and $150,000. My neighbor to the west, George Shitka, bought 3 of them and built $1 million home on all 3 of them. I don't know if he's up in Wyoming now, so I don't know if he's raising hell or won't crew or not. But it's not right to take the lot that's beside him and make it 2,000 square foot house, and he had a 2,800 square foot house. He did more than that. He probably made 3,500. But it's not right to go in there and do that to those people. And there are others. They're just, Dr. St. Louis just built, I don't know, $750 million home, and the lot next to him will be the same way. I have a home. The lot next to me will be the same way. I own the 4 lots. Shitka owns 3. Dr. Akrist, he's a cardiologist that lives next to me on the other side. He owns 1 or 2. And they're all in the old phase 1 section. And that, to me, should not be mystery. It's just not right. And it's still not right to do it over on phase 2. I'll tell Ron now, what he's doing, he's taking those lots that were $50,000 value back maybe 6 months, a year ago, and it says it's $40,000 now, and he's gonna make them 20 or 25,000 when you put a 2,000 square foot house on them. You just, the economics won't work. $200,000 house on a $40,000 lot, that won't go very far. I've done some late development too, and I built a bunch of homes, 40 or 50 years. So I can, you know, I have that knowledge and what all. Some of this isn't good. And just getting back to the fairness of it, these people bought these lots, and a lot of them still own them that they bought in 06. Regretfully, they can't get half of that out of them, you know, so they're kind of upside down. But to do this to them, where, you know, someone could buy a lot like right next to me and put a 2,000 square foot house next to mine, and mine's 2,700. It's a $500,000 home, you know. It's not right, folks, to do this. I don't know what the answer is for Ron. I know he needs to move some lots. He's doing well with the off the road back in the cul-de-sac, the 2,000 square foot houses there, or 1,800 square foot houses there. And he's still got a ways to go to build out those lots. But I don't know the answer to this one, and I just can't agree with it, and I think that it should not be voted in. And the man that wrote the letter that questioned the vote on the HOA this in, I would question, I'd like a recall vote or whatever, a recount, because I have 4 lots, Skidka has 4. Anybody that's on this whole phase 1 would not be for. Bought a house, they bought lots there, they would not be for this at all. And I don't know if you have to take all the lots in the HOA or the lots on the lake to vote. That's a good question too. I've said my piece.
Thank you, sir.
Again, it's not fair to the people in phase 1.
Mr. Hanley, being the president of the HOA, I can only assume, and I hate that word, but that you have been very careful in your vote and that you are very confident that you have reached the threshold of the 75% of the vote, regardless of, or at least in light of the letter. I hope you read that
We
letter
checked-
carefully.
We checked the letter, we checked our numbers. at
Something
least
that-
a dozen times.
Something that may give you a level of comfort on the numbers issue. That's a matter between the owners of those lots.
Absolutely.
If the city reduces the size in the development agreement, that has nothing to do with whether or not the vote was right or not. So if we if we amend the development agreement, but for some reason the vote count wasn't correctly done, then it didn't count.
What do you mean it
That
didn't
means
count?
if the city, I'd kind of like the city not to get too wrapped up in the lot owner count and the dispute over whether it was done properly.
Right.
Because the city's action won't force an amendment of their declarations on them. It may be of no effect if their Fourth Amendment didn't work right, if the vote count wasn't right. The city's vote tonight won't change that. Does that make sense?
I'm not
So
sure.
if
Is
it
what-
wasn't properly done, the city's vote tonight won't change that. You're not gonna make it, you won't force the development, you won't force the vote to be correct after all. Now, is that making sense?
In
Kind of.
essence, what you're saying that what we pass, if we were to pass this tonight and that vote was wrong, then what we pass tonight is null and void.
Null and void?
Well, it wouldn't affect, the homeowners can still challenge the validity of the count.
Right. And if it turns out that they came less than that 75%, then it would
Then that's
not
a
go
fight
into
between
effect.
them, yes, sir.
Okay.
And that would then take them back to the 2015, that had 1,800 square foot off the lake and 2,350 on the lakefront lots.
Okay, just one other clarification, so that, it's already been passed to go from the 28 down to 2,350 or 2,400. So what we're really doing tonight is just going from 2,400 down to 2,000, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Ronnie, have y'all considered, what he was talking about as, excluding phase 1?
No, we haven't. I mean, the homeowners, we brought it up at homeowners meeting and it was voted on and we did exactly what do you call it, the development.
Agreement.
Whatever, or
You're probably going off your declaration of covenants.
declaration of covenants, whatever the declaration of covenants, which is 75% of the eligible voters voted. And if you get 75% of the vote, then whatever you bring before the group passes.
And that, of course, is an agreement amongst the lot owners having nothing to do with the city.
Sure, no.
And there was 2 parts of this vote, just so you all know. We had a vote for the square footage reduction. We also had a vote to modify the fencing and allow coated chain link fences in the backyard only. Before it was, actually that was 2 different votes. Originally, there were no fences whatsoever in that subdivision. Then we voted to pass wrought iron or aluminum or similar wrought iron look, for lack of a better word. Okay, that. Then now we've modified it again to having coated chain link fence allowed no further forward than the front elevation of the house. So that has also been in this vote that we just recently had. It was a square footage change and a fencing change. So both of those things were on the docket. And I mean, we can go over the numbers, but I mean, I got a numbers person here that can. Sure, Bill,
I
you
think she
know.
wants to say
I
something.
just wanted, and I'm not much of a public speaker, I'm Patty Hamlin, I'm Ron's wife, I've been the secretary treasurer.
Don't hold it against me.
For
Thanks
probably
for
the
saying.
past 9 or 10 years. But what I wanted to add to that was many of the consent of owner forms that were signed were phase 1 lot owners. So originally, when we bought it there was Mr. Shetka's house, there was another Dr. Callahan's house, and Gary Blackman's house. There were 3 homes, large homes in there that had to meet the requirements of the original. And since then, the square footage over a period of time has been reduced. But many of the consent forms that we did get back were from these phase 1 lot owners that had lakefront lots on the lake. And the numbers, I went over and I double checked myself, triple checked myself, and the Shetkas did have some errors in their calculations. So we did meet the 75%. I can attest to that. And that's all I got from that.
I would just like to say that I think that if, you know, that's a pretty high standard to get 75% of the vote. And, you know, as far as I know, we still live in a democracy, so when you get a big contingent of people, 75%, that's pretty strong. So
We felt like so as well.
yeah, so I'd like to, make a motion to approve the amendment to Lake Regency Woods Development Agreement as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion.
Yeah, well, no, we're still,
I just had 2 questions. The lot size doesn't change, it's the house size, is that correct?
Correct.
So a person could build a 2,800 foot if they want to?
5,000 if you get to fit on the lot.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's one. And 2 is, unfortunately, there's no one else here if there's a big uproar about, you know, that spoke anyway, against it.
did you want to speak, ma'am?
I don't want to speak, but I am here for the homeowners association.
Okay.
But, you know, if people were really hot on this issue, I would suspect that we would
Wanna
have.
fill the
more.
room?
Yeah, I'd have more people here, I'm sorry, sir, but against.
Most of the people don't live on Lake Regency or even in town. A lot of them are from out of town.
Mostly
Letters,
vacant lots.
letters, anything,
Lots of
other
vacant
than
lots.
this one, and I
Yeah,
got
2
for-
emails and 1 letter.
Yeah, and so I don't see a lot of,
Did you want to speak, ma'am?
yeah.
No, just that there are 5 homes built on the lake at this time.
Yes.
5. And how many lots are on the lake? Do you have any idea?
36.
So, there are a lot of empty lots, and I think a lot of people would just like some of our lots to be filled with nice homes and nice people, so we could have a nice community.
Any other comments?
Bob, can I ask?
Discussion?
Bob's
Yes, sir.
comment about that your action has nothing to do with, what are you gonna do if this passes? What are you gonna do when a builder comes in to pull a permit and wants to build a 2,000 square foot house? I mean, we're good to go with that.
If council approves the amendment that reduces the size in the development agreement, yes, sir. 2,000 on the lake side would work, 1,800
Right.
off the lake.
Okay, so there's not gonna be any issues.
He'll have to submit to the HOA,
Well, you-
and that's it.
Well, you have to submit to the HOA
Right,
for a
right,
architectural
so-
review.
Right.
Correct.
But it's not a square footage review. Well, actually, it could be.
Well, but that's on you, you know, the HOA.
It's good to be president, Ron.
Just a few more minutes. Yeah. Anyway, that. Well, we'll leave it. Okay.
I think we have a motion and a second. I just did this discussion, I think I interrupted, but.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay.
So I think we had a motion
Have a motion?
A second.
and a
Second.
second, I believe.
and a second.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Kathy, call the roll.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes,
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Detman.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. We're right down to a city administrator's business. I don't see anything there unless you have something that you want to walk on. City clerk's business and announcements.
For announcements, just a reminder that we will have our enterprise budget workshop immediately following this meeting. And then council needs to approve the paying of the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Kathy, call the roll.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Detman.
Yes. This meeting is adjourned.